everyone, in this video I am doing a first impressions, first day's wear type video for the new YSL Touche Eclat all-in-one glow foundation, which is this guy here. This is a new release. It's currently in the UK, it's exclusive to John Lewis at the moment, though I'm sure it'll go on wider release. So that's where I got mine, picked that up yesterday. I am a fan of YSL foundation. I particularly love the original Touche Eclat foundation. I don't really like the Touche Eclat clicky pen thing, doesn't really work for me, but the foundation is beautiful. It's a really lovely formula. So I was keen to see what this would be like. I'd heard that it was more moisturising and a little bit of a sheerer coverage. Not that the Touche Eclat is particularly full coverage, but this is supposed to be a bit glowier and a bit more moisturising. So what you get in the tube, it's a tube packaging, which is actually really nice in a foundation because it means you're not mucking about with a glass bottle, which always makes me a tiny bit anxious because I'm very clumsy. So it's a squeezy tube, not dissimilar to the IT Cosmetics CC cream, although I feel like this is smaller. It has a pump, which again I love, really handy, and you know, it's just nice packaging. It's like YSL packaging always is. It's nice, it feels substantial and looks expensive and it's all that stuff. So I have the shade B10, which is the lightest shade that they make. For reference, if it's relevant, I wear MAC NW15 is about my shade. I tend to be the lightest shade in a lot of things, not in everything because there's a much broader range of foundation shades now, which is really nice, but kind of as a general rule of thumb over the last 10-15 years I've just worn the lightest shade in everything. So like I said, B10. And in this squeezy tube, you get 1 fluid ounce or 30 millilitres of product. So it's sort of a standard amount of foundation in a package that I think you get. The buy price on that one is £33.50 at the moment, which I think is about in line with the other YSL foundations. It isn't, oh my god, expensive. It's not terribly cheap either, but if it works, I'm happy to pay the price. So that's the trade-off for me. I've got the box here, shiny gold box that I won't dazzle you with, but I have there's a little thing of blurb that they say about it. So it says here, YSL's first all-in-one foundation for a complete dewy glow in an easy, mistake-proof application. Something else I've just noticed as I've flipped the box around before I carried on reading, SPF 23. Odd number, but SPF 23 PA+++. At some point I'm really going to need to learn what the pluses mean, because this is the second time it's come up in a video quite recently and it's like, what are those pluses? How many pluses is a good number of pluses? Anyway, so the description, it says, fresh dewy makeup, the 70% concentration of watery essence leaves the skin with a glitter-free radiant dewy glow and a fresh feeling all day. Natural medium coverage. The transformative cream to water formula smooths on easily with buildable coverage. It covers imperfections to give a perfected healthy complexion instantly, no mirror needed. And the last little blurb says, long-lasting hydration. With 3 times more hydrating agents than other YSL foundations, the formula actively improves skin quality. Over time, skin shows a moisture-rich radiance. So that's all of their blurb. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut to footage of me applying it, then to a check-in at the end of my day. So I put it on at about 6:30 in the morning-ish, something like that. And then I checked in again at like 6:30 in the evening. So it was a check-in after 12 hours of wear. And then I'm going to cut to my final thoughts on the product after my first day's wear. Hello, so this is the application bit of this. I've never done this before. I've never put makeup on camera before. So, yeah, this is probably my first time like really barefaced on camera. It is 6:35 in the morning, and I'm like cleansed and moisturised and all that, and so we're just gonna get going with this guy. The brush I'm using, in case it's relevant, is one from Tarte. It was one in their unicorn kit thing, and I tend to apply any base really with a brush, so I figured just to, yeah, keep this in my normal kind of routine and just see how it goes from there. I have a mirror, I have my product, I am, in theory, I'm good to go. So I'm going to shake the tube just before I dispense some. I kind of tested some yesterday and I didn't really like the consistency as it came out of the tube, and I have a feeling that's just because it needed to be shook before use. So I'm going to start off with that much, which is not a huge amount, but I don't tend to put a huge amount of base on anyway. I have a mirror which I'm not going to hold in front of the camera because I don't want to blind you, so let's see how we go. Feels nice initially. It smells I think it smells like the old Touche Eclat foundation. I don't remember because it's been a while since I've had that, though I did love it. It's, yeah, sort of beachy sort of smell, not sunscreen beachy, like ocean beachy, but that's okay, I can deal with it. It'll dry down hopefully and I won't notice it anymore. Okay, so that is one layer, and that's not really a tremendous amount of coverage. I'm just looking to see if it looks any different on camera than it does in the mirror, and no, that's really not a tremendous amount of coverage, which I suppose depending on what you're working with may be good or bad. Yeah, I think for something that's described as natural medium coverage, I was expecting more coverage than that, so let's have a go and see if it'll pump out of the tube. Would be a great start. For serious, come on. There we go. Let's go the second layer, same sort of amount as the first time. Not really sure about layering that. I feel like all it's really doing is taking off the product that was underneath. Maybe not. Maybe it's because I'm just not used to needing to layer stuff. Because everything I've been wearing lately is like, it's not super full coverage, but it's like there's good coverage when you use it. Okay. I think I'm gonna call that done. So, after a couple of coats, it's not bad. I think I was possibly expecting more coverage than that. I don't know. In terms of, you know, pores and stuff, it's not sitting in any pores, which is great. I have some foundations that tend to sit in particular in the pores over my nose, and it isn't doing that, which is positive. So yeah, we'll see how it wears. I am going to set it because I know that my nose, it's just my nose really, nowhere else, specifically my nose, tends to get quite oily, and so what I'm expecting is this will break up over my nose over the course of the day, probably within a couple of hours, and that isn't a slight on the foundation, that's just what everything does. I haven't found anything that can contend with my nose, which is super shiny, so we'll see how it goes. So it's been about 20 minutes since I've put this on now, and I've kind of gone about getting the rest of my face done, eye makeup and all that kind of thing. I was just in my bathroom and just caught my reflection, and actually really like the finish of this so far. It looks very kind of smooth, and it's not starting to sink into pores and stuff around my nose, which is a major plus, because I can't remember if I said it or not, but that's usually where a foundation will fall down for me, is it will start to sink in here and you just end up with like that polka dot effect, which is not attractive. But so far liking the finish on this one, so we'll see how it goes after a couple of hours of wear. I'm just in the office today, I'm not out and about or anything, so minimal movement in theory. My workday tends to be quite long, and I'm under no illusions, I don't think this is going to hold up perfectly until 6 o'clock tonight, so we'll see how it goes and I'll check in with you in a bit. Hello! Hi, so it's the end of the day now. It is almost 6:30, so I have had this foundation on for just short of 12 hours. It wore really well. At this point, there's not a whole lot of any of my makeup left, bit of eye makeup left, but that's about it. I would say that after maybe 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours perhaps, I started to get a bit shiny over my nose, and then probably midway through this afternoon, about 3 o'clock, I'd noticed that it was starting to kind of break down on the sides of my nose, and I was a tiny bit shiny on my forehead. That is pretty standard for me in any foundation that I wear. It will break down on the sides of my nose because that's where I get the most oily. I didn't powder, I didn't reset anything, I just kind of let it be on its own, just to see how it would wear throughout the day, and I'm really happy with it. It hasn't worn off unevenly particularly. I didn't find that it was transferring onto anything, which is also nice. Finish was nice, it felt comfortable, it didn't dry, it didn't kind of go cakey throughout the day. It still didn't, even with the breaking up over the sides of my nose, it still didn't like massively sink into my pores, which, as I said earlier today, that's a problem I have with some foundations, where you just get that like polka dot pore effect where it just sinks in. So all in all, I'm really happy with this. This is just day one, of course, so it may be something that I need to report back on in future, but in terms of how it wore, how it felt, in terms of the shade match for me, this is B10, great shade match. All in all, very happy with it, and I would recommend it, particularly if you liked the original Touche Eclat foundation. If you liked that, I think you would probably like this for something a bit lighter. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. It's a good one, would recommend. Okay, so that was my application and then my check-in. So all in all, I really like this. I suspected I would, just because historically I have always liked YSL's foundation. In fact, the range as a whole I think is pretty solid. Like, they make great lip products, and every face product I've tried from them has been really lovely as well. So it's a brand that I'm quite warm to. In terms of this, and in terms of the claims that are on the side of the box that I've got here, yes, I would say it does make your skin look fresh and kind of well hydrated. Like, there's nothing about it that looks cakey or dried on. Even after 12 hours, it still looked pretty good. I'd had a bit of breakup around my nose and a bit of shine, but I would get that with anything, so that wasn't a huge shock to me. The coverage is buildable. I put one layer on and it wasn't enough coverage for me, and so a second layer. Initially I was like, oh, is this gonna kind of pick up? Is the second layer gonna ruin the first layer? But no, second layer went on great, gave a good level of coverage. I would say it gives you a good medium coverage, which is what they claim, so that's also great. Overall, finish was fantastic. It wore really well. You know, where it wore off, it wore off evenly. It still didn't particularly sink massively into my pores, which is a huge plus for me, because I think I said as I was applying, that's a problem I have often with foundations, will be particularly on the sides of my nose. Foundation sinks into the pores and then you get like that kind of polka dot pore effect, which I obviously don't like. This didn't do that, so this has, yes, so far, it's only one day of wear, so who knows. But on a first impression, it's great. So if this is something that you can go and you can get a sample of, I would absolutely recommend that you give it a try if you are looking for that kind of hydrating, medium coverage, little bit glowy, because it's not super matte. I powdered it at the beginning of the day, just to kind of set it a bit, but hadn't powdered it until I started filming post check-in now, just to kind of, you know, to be more kind of camera ready sort of thing. So this one is definitely a win for me based on first impressions. I like the finish, I like the coverage, I like how it feels on the skin, I like the fact that they say it's weightless, and it is. Like, I'm not really aware of having foundation on, which is really nice. Yeah, so that's it. Like, I powdered and I lipsticked just to film this kind of start and end section, because I've never filmed a video like this before, so it was a whole new process of trying to film in chunks but that are going to go together differently. So my brain wasn't really in it, but now I know what I need to do for future, and there will be another video coming up. I actually have another foundation with this kind of testing format. Like, I'm going to do the same thing, so hopefully the more I do these, the better they'll get. Or maybe not, maybe it'll just be like this all the time. So that is it for this video. let me know your thoughts on this one. Is it one that you've tried? Are you going to try it? If you're looking for something glowy and, you know, moisturising, hydrating, I would certainly recommend picking up a sample just to give it a go, just because it is a bit of a splurge. Otherwise, are there any other foundations that you think I might like? If there are, please leave me a comment, because I'm always interested to find, in particular, new foundations. Other makeup products are fine and I'll kind of stumble across them, but foundation's always the thing that I'm really keen to, yeah, to have recommendations on and to just see what's out there, because for some reason of late it's the product I've been the most drawn to. So please leave me a comment if there's something that you would like to share. Otherwise, that is it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with another video, though I currently don't know what, very soon. Take care. Bye.